Wonderful. Welcome back to the Real Cosmic Joke. We have Jalynn and Baytop here.
Hi. Hey.
Hey, hi. Today we're going to be talking about sisterhood, community, female friendships, and just really diving into what that looks like as an adult. I think we can all agree that making deep, authentic connections with women when you're an adult is extremely hard. Would you say the same thing?
Yeah. Okay. I think making friends is really easy for me. And wait, am I not supposed to say that?
Bomb drop. Sorry, guys. We all suck. No, I actually think this is good.
That's the one thing I have going for me. I feel like constantly in my life, like my finances will fall apart. My home life will be, well, it doesn't really fall apart, but it's,
just ever changing.
My career is ever changing. My health is ever changing. My female friendships are the only saving grace I've had in my sanity of life over the past few years.
I love that.
But it's only the last few years.
And you're very good at being authentic. So I think maybe that's one thing that, do you feel like helps you attract?
Yeah, I think so. Because I go to events and I'm like, hey, did you hear about that Anunnaki alien? They're like, what the fuck? And then other random people are like, wait, oh yeah, I know Anunnakis. I'm like, oh, hey girl, what's up?
Yeah, and I would never do that. Like when you told me one time, Baytop just walked into like an LDS church women's conference and just went and made friends. That makes my skin crawl. Like,
yeah.
And I'm not saying it about the church thing in general. I'm just saying in general, like I like to stay at home in my own bubble. So that's something I don't have going for me is I don't want to go out and meet people. It's very hard. Even if I go to events, I stay very much like bubbled up.
Yeah. I feel like my inner circle though that's something that is very small to me and sacred.
Yeah.
Very, very small.
Yeah. And I think there's also things that can be put in the mix, like kids and job and just different life things that make it harder to maybe meet people or create those authentic connections, which is one reason I love social media, because I feel like I can show up authentically on social media and meet friends that way, but it's so much harder for me in real life.
Yeah, and it just feels we're in this transitional state of the world. So it's like most of the events out there are these matrix 3D spaces.
Yes.
And you go into them and it's a different resonance. Like you can feel your heart just kind of slow down a bit because you're like, I'm so bored.
Okay, let's back up real quick. I want you to explain what 3D matrix means for those who are like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so 3D matrix is people who probably believe in their doctors fully. They believe in the 9 to 5. They're on
just it's just this programming that
our education system is as it is. You should, after education, go to college, go get a job, go work a 9 to 5, get the American dream, get the house.
It's just not questioning anything.
It's not questioning. It's not being curious about, well, why am I sick? Why do they want to put me on this drug? Why have my beliefs stayed the same my entire life? Why have I never changed my belief systems?
I'm gonna chat GPT this just for the hill of it. I want to see what chat GPT says about
what is the 3D matrix.
The 3D matrix. Oh. Okay, so chat GPT says the term 3D matrix is often used in spiritual, metaphysical, and philosophical circles to describe the physical material world we live in, shaped by societal norms, which is what you were just talking about, systems and limitations, also what you were just talking about. It goes very deep into the spiritual and metaphysical context, but there's just kind of a little background. I feel like that's important because we're going to be talking about it a lot.
Yeah, that's smart. Thank you.
Yeah. So let me read this last part. This is good. Number 4, breaking free from the 3D matrix. To break free from the 3D matrix means awakening to higher dimensions of consciousness. This involves shifting to 4D, 5D consciousness, which is embracing love, unity, and awareness. This is so good. Questioning reality, practicing presence. So just a random side note that I feel like is important when we're talking about these things.
Maybe we'll have to have like a dictionary on our website. It's like
the terms,
the index. You have all the terms.
Index of the Real Cosmic Joke.
Yeah, we'll put that to our to-do list.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna dive into the wounding, the sisterhood wound.
Yeah, it is deep. experience, you come back to your boyfriend or to a male friend you have, and you're telling them about this drama you had with a woman, and they're always like, "That's so dramatic. Why don't you just say sorry and be done?" Right? Men are always like that. And I'm like, why is it so easy for them to just get over shit or to just connect and build and grow? And female friendships are really hard. Like they're very fragile, or they have been in the past. And a few years back, I listened to this podcast, and I feel bad, but I don't remember the name of the podcast, and I don't remember who put these talking points together. But they put them together, and I wrote them in my notes section, and I come back to them constantly.
I love that.
The sisterhood wound itself really originates from, the witches, the burning at the stake. So as women, we are intuitively connected to nature, to our kids, to our family, to our community. We're healers. We're meant to heal. We're meant to hear the voices of the water and the earth and the moon and the sun. And we've lost that whole identity. And if you really go back 500 years across the world, there was this mass burning of witches. And so multiple things happened. If you were intuitively connected and you were predicting the future, which if you listen to nature, you can do that really easily. You were burned at the stake for being a witch, right? If you were intuitive and you saw all your friends being burned at the stake, you were shutting up. You were shutting up and you were not saying anything. So you're silencing your voice, right? Oh my gosh, I'm getting chills as I'm saying this. That throat chakra.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, if your family was getting in trouble or your friends were, you were quick to shut up about your gifts if you had any, but also blame other women.
Yeah.
Like, it's not me, it's them. And so you had this mass generation of women who were taught to either hide their talents, to blame and compete with other people for literally the safety of their own lives. And this was happening across Europe, the Americas, Asia, Africa. Like, this is not just unique to the Salem witch trials.
Deep, deep, deep wound.
And we learned to disconnect ourselves from source. I mean, there was rules in certain communities. Like if you go back to the, Providence plantations in Rhode Island, and I know this because I'm from Rhode Island, like the rules were, women can't gather, and women stop talking drama. Don't talk about anyone else's business. So we're told to be silent, and they knew this. When women come together, we speak truth, we hold vulnerability, and we really are the interweb of this entire collective.
Yeah, women are so powerful.
Yeah.
And we've been cut off from that and put into this like matrix system that's taken our power away, taken our authenticity away, but we're coming out of that. I mean, I think everyone can see that if they look around. We are coming out of that. Like, women have voices, women are powerful, women are starting to take the roles that we should have had all along, and things are shifting. We're coming back. It's Age of Aquarius, baby. Yeah.
So how we're going to talk about this episode. This is our first real, longer episode, and we're going to just go with the flow. I'm going to talk about the 5 wounds, and we're going to hit on them real quick, and then we're going to dive down, share some stories and experiences. And we would love for you to engage with the comments or wherever you're listening to this, and tell us about your experience, and also what you're doing about healing those wounds. And I think that's been a big part of my healing journey the last 5 years, is healing these feminine wounds that have disconnected me from my sisters.
Yeah. And this is what we mean when we talk about being conscious, is noticing these patterns and doing something about it. Because we can be like, oh, it's so hard to make friends, and we can just leave it at that and just never try. But you can also say, okay, this has happened in my past. This is something that I'm stuck in, this cycle that I'm stuck in that goes back so long and so deep, and you can do something about it now. So when Baytop's going over these, I want you guys to really like sit with this information and see what pulls up for you, like what your body is telling you. If there's a ping or you get chills or you're like, oh my gosh, I can relate to this one, maybe just go a little deeper.
Oh yeah, I got chills as you were saying that.
Deeper.
And we're making this our first episode because whatever happens in this world, whether it's aliens come, wildfire, whatever happens, at the end of the day, your female friendships are the saving grace of
Yeah,
everything.
totally.
If there's no internet, you can go, if you hopefully your some of them are in your town, but this is like the foundation of just holding space.
Yeah, and a conscious, empowered woman is going to shine their light so bright, it's just going to magnify other women to do the same thing, and it's gonna be this huge ripple effect.
Chills again. Man, this is good. I'm already feeling it. Okay, so here's the 5 wounds we're gonna go over real quick. The rejection exile wound, the betrayal deception wound, the inauthenticity and fakeness wound, the comparison judgment wound, and the last one, competition scarcity wound. All right, first one, Jalynn, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rejection exile
You
wound.
keep saying rejectile. Let's just start our own words. Rejectile.
Core issues: fear of non-belonging or exclusion. And this is how it manifests: feeling left out or ostracized by women, belief that you don't fit in with other women or groups, deep fear of vulnerability due to past rejection.
And I can relate to this this is like hitting me hard from childhood.
Tell us more.
Okay. So growing up, I already stood out. I was 5'11", 6 foot tall in 6th grade. Like I was a presence, and girls were so mean to me, and I did everything I could to just be quiet, to be, that meek girl. And anytime I tried to step into this authenticity of myself, I was instantly rejected in every possible way. So here's one example. I just remember in 6th grade, the girls were so mean to me. They would make fun of my clothes, they'd make fun of everything, that I started hanging out with the guys. And I'd play basketball with them at recess. And that turned into, she's trying to steal our boyfriends. And I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
Like zero intention of that. I didn't know anything about boys. I was not interested in these boys. I was playing basketball with them, and it got turned on me yet again. And I just remember feeling so misunderstood. Always. I think now, up until this point, and I'm almost 37 years old, I'm finally letting go of that. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm misunderstood. I'm here to be misunderstood. Like, no one is going to fully, not no one, but most people are not going to understand how I work. And that's one of the things I'm here for, is I'm not supposed to be like everybody else.
Yeah. And I've noticed that just in your social media when I first met you to how you show up today is, I think we can all think these comments don't matter and I can just speak my truth online, but the comments, the trolls, like that hurts.
Oh, it's hard.
And it's the most hurtful ones are often by other women.
Yeah.
And it's that deep, I've been harassed, not even to the extent of you, and I still go home and cry,
Yeah, it's hard.
And it's like, even when we disagree with something online, how do we as women articulate our voice a bit better to be supportive? Yet I don't fully agree. I wonder if it's this.
Or just hold space it's okay that other people have lived experiences that are different than yours.
Yeah. Yeah,
period.
I like that one better, actually.
Yeah, like period. I don't even feel a need personally when I'm scrolling and I see something that I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I don't feel the need to go voice my opinion. I feel like that's our ego speaking, that always needs to be like, we always have to have an opinion and we always have to say how we feel.
Yep.
And that's another wounding in and of itself, is feeling like you have to yell at everyone who doesn't believe the same as you. Yeah. Like, that's another deep wounding, but
maybe that's what we can do less of. I think a lot of these woundings intertwine.
Oh, for sure.
And one of the things I was telling Jalynn is these woundings, there's 5 of them, but often 1 or 2 manifest more than the other. I would say mine are at the bottom of the list. So when we get into like the last 2, those are my big woundings. And yeah, I think that's where more explanation for me will come in my story sharing, because I'm like, oh, I feel that one deeply. The the second one is this betrayal deception wound. So it's broken trust in female relationships, and it's difficulty trusting women, fear of being deceived, used, or betrayed, hypervigilance in female friendships, always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
It is hard. I feel like you know, that wounding I don't have as much. You know, I think we all have parts of it, but I've noticed women when I connect with women and they're always like, "I'm afraid you're gonna leave me. I'm afraid you're gonna do this. I'm afraid," and it's constantly voiced.
Mhm.
It actually I feel like I wanna leave because that level of insecurity that comes up often, and so I'm trying to hold space for it more, but also when you always think, you know, when you can't really trust someone and you tell them every day you don't trust them, like, it's hard to actually build trust.
Yeah, totally, and I feel like the first thing that popped up when you said that is our mom, like a motherhood wound too,
Oh,
because if you
yeah.
feel abandoned by your mom, if you feel like deeply not like you don't trust your mother, like that is it. Your mom is your first female
Ugh.
friend, technically, right? And so that's the first thing that came to my mind when you said that. And I don't feel like I personally have that wounding, like that didn't like ping for me, but that's what came to my mind is your mom. Like your mom is technically your first female relationship.
It is, and I think, you know, most of our parents, we can look at them and they are great teachers, some of the
They
best
are.
teachers.
Yeah.
And obviously they had to hold space for us the way that they knew how to hold space for
Yeah.
us, which is oftentimes why we're in therapy and healing groups now, right?
I mean, they did, and the powerful thing is they did the best that they could, their capacity. Yeah, they did the best that they knew how to do, and we're gonna do the same thing for our children, and our children are gonna do the same thing, and nobody gets to escape any of this. No one gets to escape woundings and life experiences.
Yeah, I feel that.
Okay, number 3. What's number 3?
Inauthenticity, fakeness wound.
Ooh,
Fear, pretension, or lack of real connection, and how it manifests is perception of other women being two-faced, backstabbing, or fake, difficulty trusting compliments or act of kindness from women, and then sh- I would this list says, you know, struggling to show up authentically in female circles or fear of judgment. I also think it's um, other people not showing up authentically that
totally.
is like the real thing, and I would say inauthenticity is my biggest turnoff. I don't care if you are an alcoholic who's a hot mess. You know, when you're authentic about where you're at and who you are, I find I wanna relate to you more
Yeah.
than this superficial perception, and one of the things I realized is the state of Utah. I've never met so many inauthentic women, and that goes back to the church wound
Yeah, totally.
in my life
Being
than
shoved into a system and like you do things this way and not ever being able to dive in and figure out, wait, what do I want? Or how do I want to show up, you know?
yeah,
If you show up in a way that you're not supposed to, then you get in trouble.
you get in trouble.
Nobody wants to get in trouble.
No.
I mean, I don't. I'm a rule follower.
It's so funny because you see the memes and it's like Utah girls hanging out and they're all wearing the same outfit and um it you know I want to hold space because I really do believe that the women of Utah and beyond are we're just going to come together. I think America will change and shift over the
Yeah.
coming years. Um but that is one of my big struggles in
Yeah.
authenticity.
And you can feel it when you go into a group and someone's not being authentic. It's really, really hard to open up and be authentic
Yeah,
when
very
you're
hard.
feeling that, you know.
Um Next wound,
Okay.
the comparison judgment wound. Feeling inadequate in comparison to others, constantly comparing appearance, achievement, or status, harsh self criticism fueled by perceived perfection of others, um, feeling judged or really critical of other women.
I feel like I guarantee 98% of women can relate to this in some way.
I
I
have
really
this.
do.
I have this.
I did have this.
I would say I'm actively working on it, and it's not my. I don't think any of these woundings sting as much as they used to, but
Yeah.
This is probably my biggest one.
Yeah. I would say at my height of that one was when I was being inauthentic, when I was like really not, because as soon as I was started being authentic for me, then I was able to not compare. But when I was trying to do, like, I'll just give an example. When I first started my blog and my Instagram, I was trying to do what everyone else was doing that was successful. You know, Utah bloggers, this is where blogging was born. And
in
like
the state of Utah.
literally.
By Jalynn.
No.
By Jalynn, our girl Jalynn.
Not
just
me.
Kidding.
Not me.
But you were on the forefront of it.
Yeah. I was right when Instagram opened. When was that? 2011? Yeah, I was on there and I have been posting ever since. But I was trying to do what everyone else was doing. I was trying to dress like how everyone else was dressing. I was trying to be a copycat, and I just constantly compared myself. Like, why am I not growing? Why am I not XYZ? And until I started saying, like, fuck it, I'm going to do what feels authentic to me and exciting to me, I didn't start growing. Like, when I started stepping more into me, that's when I started growing and finding my own path and my own voice. And it still is it's still a process.
What's authenticity to you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Being authentic is just like fully showing up as you. And for me, I feel like a lot of my authenticity is very much rejected by the world. Like, my beliefs, you know, like, I don't cling to a political stance. I don't have these titles. I don't cling to a religion. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. You know?
Yeah.
Like, they want me to be Christian. They want me to be Mormon. They want me to feel this way about this certain thing. And I very much take a neutral stance, or I can just see a bigger picture, and that triggers a lot of people. And so for a long time, I just never shared my thoughts, never shared my feelings. But when I started, I realized how many people felt the same way, but never allowed themselves to speak that. So, I mean, authenticity, I don't even know how I would describe it, but it's just being fully true to who you are, no matter how that looks to anybody else.
Yeah. And even as simple as, you get an invite to go to dinner with someone and you're like, I actually don't want to go. I'm not feeling it. I think as women become these people pleasers, and we're like, well, I feel like I should because I haven't seen them in forever. And we name the list, and it's just, no, I don't want to do that. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. Just start showing up with your no's more. I think almost no's build authenticity more than yeses.
Well, you get so brave when you say that first no. You're like, oh my gosh, I did it.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to family, when it comes to like things that you're just expected to, that are kind of non-negotiable. Saying no to those things is so empowering.
Very empowering. I think a lot of these comparison wounds, they really come from this. You're going to get good grades. You're going to be the best athlete. You're going to be the best at something. And there's going to be all these other kids, and you got to go and out into the world. And then you got to do this and this, and then you have to have a family. And then, so yeah, I think if I'm being honest, I have comparison in the fact that I'm 36 years old and I would love to be married with kids, and, all my friends are having kids or have had kids. And I think, I'm like, what's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Oh, that makes me want to cry.
Oh, do it.
But yeah, do it, sweet. It's just, yeah, this constant comparison of, I'm not good enough. Like, why don't I get chosen for that? And it's a real wound that we have to work through. And and it's obvious, we are all different stages. I've almost related it to a game character, right? It's the intro to like a game, and there's like 5 characters, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses, and it's like, my weakness is here, my strengths are here, and we're never going to be perfect. And obviously the journey unfolds, but it doesn't make the wounds any easier or harder. It's
I think that's beautiful. That's a deep wound. And I think we can go, there's like these deep wounds, and there's also these they can still be deep, but like superficial things, because don't you feel like social media has created just such an easy space for us to compare our bodies, our clothes, our faces, like very more shallow things. We put these people on these pedestals because we're looking at their highlight reel, and we're not realizing everyone's human. Everyone is experiencing so much behind these little squares online. and the comparison has just, it's gotten out of control. But I
It's
think,
gone sickening.
yeah, but the older I've gotten, the more I've freed myself from that. And I don't know if you feel that way from at least the superficial things of like comparison of like clothes and their life appears to be perfect and all these things. Like I've moved away from that. I don't feel that anymore. And I feel like that's very empowering to not compare those things.
Yeah, I think what helped me is working with influencers over the past few years and
realizing
they're the biggest shit shows you've ever met. They are in the worst marriages. They have the worst advice. Like they don't even know how to shake your hand or even, it's they don't have, so many of them don't have real influence in real life.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to have some digital influence, but it's like, I'm doing this morning routine and I'm going to be this. And
but
it's
we're
like
moving away from that. People
exactly.
are craving like depth and authenticity. And even if you are an influencer and you love sharing clothing and you love sharing, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think showing up, and we're getting away from this consumerism and this go, and we're moving more into the leaders that are going to be rising are those who are being authentic and showing up authentic and are leading in an authentic way.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to see, I think we're going to see influencers and celebrity culture die this year if they're not being authentic.
Yeah. And I think the best new example of this is Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montage. I mean, their house burned down if you don't follow them, and they are just in tears and crying and being extremely vulnerable. Like, I don't have a lot of money. I might be famous, but that doesn't mean I'm wealthy. Like, we had everything invested in our house. We literally have nothing. But then you see other celebrities who are just, closed lip, nothing. And we don't really know who they are. We don't know what to not like people and to not be liked by everyone, I think is a gift, right?
Yeah, totally.
If you are friends with everyone and everyone likes you, something is wrong. Something is off because I think there's a level of respect you can gain and stuff, but that authenticity of just being like, no, I believe in this, even if people don't, and it's not popular, like that is a beautiful gift to be sharing with the world.
Yeah, totally.
And I think it's gonna, be a real gift to those comparison wounds that I think linger.
Well, I want to go back to yours.
What?
I want to dive a little deeper with yours. Like how, like a real life example of, this wounding. So how do you move through it on like a day-to-day basis? I want to kind of give them an example of like, this is a real wounding I have. And like, what do you do when you're triggered by, when it comes up in your body and you're like, oh my gosh, it's here, it's present right now. Like, how do you move through this wound?
Oh my gosh, I'm such an emotional girl.
And I love it.
I do cry.
Everyone cries.
I know, but I'm like, I just love it. I love
it's
crying.
So healthy. It's so healing.
It is healing. It's, I'm going to give an example of this morning. I met this woman last week. We connected and I was like, hey, I feel like we could be friends. Let's just go get coffee. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes. I found out she was 41 years old. She had her kid at like 38. She got married late, like all these things. And she is, an entrepreneur. And it was just this reminder that this life path is so different, and finding other women who have done life differently. When I show up authentically, they also meet me with authenticity, and that truth comes out. Like, I didn't start till I was in my 40s, being a mom, and like that for me, that comparison when I'm like, oh, there's hope. There's like this. You're so cool. You're giving me so much hope. And
honestly, you're in a really hard spot too, because everyone in Utah has their kids when they're like 20.
Yeah,
so
I'll
you're
be a stepmom.
I feel like it's extra in your face, when everyone has had their kids. And I mean, that's the script I grew up in. That's what I was taught. You go, do your churchly duties. You find a husband that's worthy to get married in the temple, which I did freaking twice. And then you have kids, and then you're a homemaker and you give. So it's like this, it's just this narrative that's laid out for you.
Yeah.
What would that look like if people broke out of that narrative and really asked themselves, like, what do I want? Because in the church, it's what you do. It's how you advance, and it's how you get into heaven. It's X, Y, and Z. It's all these things. So I think it's powerful to be doing things differently. Like you're going to help a lot of people and show people that they can do things when they're 38, 40, 50, 60, 70. Like what did I just see on Instagram? Someone started a business or started doing something, and I just saw that she's like 65, and that made me swell with pride for her. Someone I don't even know online, but I'm like, yes, like there's no age limit to doing anything in life. Like we all have our own unique path.
We can start again. Anything.
Yeah.
We can start anything over.
But isn't that the spiritual journey anyways?
Yeah.
Death, rebirth, death, rebirth, death, rebirth. And we're in a death year. We're in a collapse death year. 2025 is a 9-year. Everything's collapsing. We are going to see the death of so much. I think we're already seeing the death of how we view politics and government and people in leadership. We are already seeing, and it's what? January 17th. We're like 2.5 weeks in, and we're already seeing people realize, oh, they don't have our best interests at heart. And we're going to keep learning these lessons until we realize that all we really have is ourselves and our community and our family. And I just went way off topic there, but
that's the point of this podcast.
Yeah.
We're fucking
We're
wild.
flowing.
We're feral.
Okay, is there another one? 5?
There's 5, yeah.
Okay, 5. What's number 5?
The competition scarcity wound.
Ooh.
The belief in not enoughness, not enough love, success, or opportunities, and the desire to compete for not enough resources.
I have a story for this one.
Oh, good. Okay, how it manifests. We'll go with that before we get into storytelling.
Yeah.
Seeing other women as rivals rather than allies. Fear that another woman's success diminishes your own chances. And struggle to celebrate other women's achievements or joys. And there's, the root cause, societal conditioning that pits women against each other for limited resources, attention, or validation.
I feel like that's so loud.
I feel that I don't have this one as much, and so I'm able, because we're all still learning ourselves, but I feel like I'm always wanting to help other women.
Yeah, I love that.
But really help them, because I've learned that when my core group of friends win, I actually win.
Oh, totally.
And it might not be this month or for 6 months, but they get into doors and then they hold the door open for me.
Yeah.
And we do the same thing over and over again. And so I always see us like as a pod moving together.
Yeah.
And so why would I not want to
you evolve with your group.
Exactly. Yeah. Why would you not want to support your female friendships?
Yeah.
And when we get more true about who we are, we can validate other people's strengths without it being a threat.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, tell us your story, Jalynn. Tell us your story.
I don't have this wounding anymore. I feel like I have a very abundant mindset around success and resources and all of that. But when I was in Senegence and very first started it, this was like 8-9 years ago. I started when Char was 3 months old.
Daughter.
Yeah, Charlie. When she was 3-4 months old, I started this business and it grew quickly. Like we did like $19 million in the first year of this business. So It grew quickly. My finances grew very quickly. And the more I grew, the more scarcity filled my body, because I was like, this is too good to be true. I started self-sabotaging myself. I started talking down about myself, almost like sabotage my success. And then when other women would join the business and they would start doing well, I just automatically was like, well, now I can't do well. And I literally was unconsciously, I sabotaged my business and it went down very quickly. And I also had, around, do I deserve this? And, there were so many stories. There was so many lessons in that business that I'm so grateful for. But the comparison thing, the wounding was so heavy. I literally sabotaged my business and my income and my finances to make other people feel comfortable about my success, to make me feel comfortable about my success. And yeah, there was a lot there, and I lost my train of thought.
How did you get through that? What was like the first stage and step?
I feel like I I got through it by doing my own healing. I don't think I necessarily focused on that, but I started looking inward at like, why do I feel this way? Or why do I feel anytime I was triggered? When I left the church, that really opened the door for me to start asking questions about everything and doing the inner work. I feel like you just naturally evolve and don't have that mindset anymore of if she's successful in this industry or in this, then there's not enough for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it slowly started shifting. And I notice it now, even on Instagram in this like influencer space. This is just a very little example, but something that I've noticed is people will screenshot things instead of sharing from people's pages. And to me, and I've heard people say this, they don't want to share other people's pages because they don't want to take people off their own page. But for me, that's like a very lack mindset. For
Oh, so
me,
lack.
I want to share these people's pages like that are helping me. If I resonate with something, I want people to go follow them too, because when we all grow and we learn from different people,
Yeah.
it's not a like, oh my gosh, they're gonna go to them and buy from them instead of buy from me. But it's like we're growing. And
Yeah.
when you have that abundance mindset, and you move out of that lack mindset, things are always working out for you.
Yeah.
Always.
And it's so much more sustainable
Oh
when you
yeah.
are, if you can find like a solid group of people that you're actually inspired to share with them, right?
Yeah.
So like the stuff you post, Jalynn, I'm inspired to share it. I'm not just sharing it because I'm your friend.
Thank you.
Literally, I'm like, wow, this is cool shit. This
Well, it
is
just feels like
funny.
gatekeeping. Like only I know where this information comes, and I'm not going to share it with anyone else because I don't want anyone to leave my page. That's a very much lack mindset.
Yeah. And well, you think about as women, we have a 30-day cycle, with our period. We're going to have our highs and our lows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally not trying to show up on social media every day. I mean, I might post my stories and like troll people, who knows? But I just feel like it brings this network together. Like when people know we're friends and I'm sharing your content and you're sharing mine,
Mm-hmm.
and it creates sustainability during these like off times.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I might not be sharing a ton today, but this network of friends I've developed, where there's stuff being added into the community that's beautiful, and it kind of supports the whole little community that you're in.
Yeah, totally.
That cross promoting. And I look at the Kardashians. You can say what you want, but they've done business. It's definitely crashing the way that they're doing business,
Mm-hmm.
but they all cross promoted each other.
Yeah, totally.
And it's when you can start thinking about that,
Like grow
just
together.
grow together,
Like find
thrive
your people
together,
and yeah, grow and thrive together.
laugh. I feel like accounts do better when people are like, oh, she has friends too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to some like realistic applications. That was all the 5 wounds, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some realistic
Competition.
applications, or maybe we can talk about how we have made adult friendships. Like it's not hard for you. It's definitely harder for me. So for our audience, I guarantee I see a lot of people talk about how hard it is to make female friendships. So I think the cool thing about the time we're living in, social media has been such a big blessing because you can connect with people. Like I know people from all across the world that I've connected with that I would have never known or connected with. And I think that's why the awakening is happening so quickly now, because we have
Mhm.
access to so many people, to so many different perspectives, to so many accounts, and we're able to expand a lot quicker than we used to be, even like 30 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So what are some realistic tips that you have as someone who finds it easier to make female friendships?
Yeah.
Like how do you go about doing that? Like where do you put
Yeah.
yourself to find these people?
Well, I could just be walking the street and I befriend someone and become best friends.
Yeah, I love that. What's your sign
But
again? Tell everyone your
I'm
sign.
a Virgo sun, Scorpio rising. I think my Venus and Leo helps out a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm a manifester, 1-3 human design, so I'm here to initiate. And one of the things I realized is making friends is one of my greatest gifts that I can offer to my community, and the connecting people really authentically,
Mm-hmm.
and not just like, oh, she does this and she does this, but like, this is her soul and this is her soul. I
Yeah.
think your souls would be great connected together. And so I actually feel like part of my role in humanity is to connect like souled people
I actually feel
constantly.
that way about me too.
Yeah, I feel like you do that
Well,
too.
when I first met you, I was like, I have a friend.
Oh, yeah.
And now
But
you
if she
guys
didn't
are like soul friends, soul
Yeah.
family.
Well, here's the thing too. She's like, "Yeah, let's hang out." And then she's like, "By the way, I invited my friend over." In my head, I'm
Well,
like,
I
"Oh, I
just
hope she's a
knew.
cool friend."
Well, I just knew.
And she was very cool.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
knew. And I mean, when maybe I don't know if we should use names or not, but when I first moved down here, that is like something
Yeah,
I
you
was
could
really
use her
good
name.
at is I would meet a friend and be like, "Oh, I need to introduce you to this person and I need to introduce you to this person." And that's how like my friend group developed when I first got down here is like these connection pieces. So I feel like even though I'm opposite of you when it comes to being social, I do feel like I'm a good connector too.
Yeah, and you see the soul and you're connecting the soul.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's a big part is just making sure to, I mean, you don't have to do anything you don't want, but actively connecting.
Yeah. Do you feel like manifesting has been a cool tool for you in finding friendships or not really? Because your personality, because you're good at it. Like, do you feel like you've had to use that as a tool?
I don't, but I would love to hear your explanation. I really feel like that might be my top genius, like, is
Yeah.
making friends.
Yeah. I love that.
And
That is like honestly really like making friends and making connections. That's gonna get
yeah,
you so far in life,
I
honestly.
I mean, if I'm being honest, it goes back to my childhood. Like my mom, we grew up on welfare. We grew up with like no money, and so we were constantly moving. Whether we couldn't afford a rental, and we had to move to another one. So
Mhm.
I was moving school systems all the time.
Yeah.
And then my parents were divorced, living in 2 different states, and so I had to go make friends wherever I went. So
Yeah.
I was the kid in the grocery store who would go up to another kid. I'm like, "Hey, you wanna be my friend?" They're like, "Okay." And then the last 10 minutes, I wouldn't see them again. But it was
Oh, I love
it was
that.
just part of, I guess a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
And I realized that, when I'm in a networking setting and I see a woman, especially I'm more connected to women than men. I love men, but I'm just like, oh, I don't
You're
want
a
her to
girl's
be
girl.
I'm a girl's girl, really. And my sisters are both super shy. And so when I see women who are just shy, introverted on the side of the room, I always go up to them. I always bring
Oh,
them into a
that's
group.
me.
And because I want people to feel included
Yeah, I
and
love
just,
that.
who are you?
See, and I'm not conscious of any of that because I'm the one in the room hiding from everyone, or I'm very much, even with my close friends, I'm very much a listener. So, like, when it's us three hanging out, I will very much be like in my own space. And it's not because I don't feel comfortable around you guys. I'm just very much what's the word? I just like to like soak it all in
Yeah.
and feel the vibes. And I don't feel the need to like say something unless I have something to say. I'm very much what is it called? What is the word?
Embodier of
Just like
energy.
viewer, just a watcher. I'm very much a watcher. Like I don't feel the need to be in like the center of attention. Not saying anyone does that, but I don't that's like not a desire I have. So
Yeah.
I'm usually, especially if there's like 5 or 6 people in the room, I will very much just watch and
I
like
love that.
listen. And I love it.
In human design, is your throat chakra defined or undefined?
Undefined.
Oh, that also, girl, you're living aligned. The undefined throat chakra is you tend to sit back and like what serves you best is sitting back.
Yeah.
Because when you insert yourself all the time, it actually exhausts you and it kind of rubs the group weird.
Yeah.
So to be invited to speak, even though you're not a projector or anything
Yeah.
like that, it helps you just articulate and share your truth more.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, mine's defined.
Yeah, so for me, like friendships, I don't know if I'd even say I've used manifestation. That was like just with you.
Yay!
But I was craving deeply. Like I have been for probably a year now, and even through business, the last like 9 years of doing network marketing, I have craved people. I've craved people.
Yeah,
And I just wanted these. I'm like, I want someone who is excited about life, who is motivated and business minded. Like those are the connections I've craved. And in business, I've seen these women like flock together and have these like really awesome relationships. And I'm like, I want that. Like I want
yeah,
that so badly. So around the time when we connected again, that's what I was writing down. Like I want someone who's business minded. I want someone who wants to be expansive. And the reason I said time freedom, and maybe doesn't have kids or just has kids in school so they have freedom is because I feel like I just don't connect with people who have little kids at home. I just feel like we're in such a different stage of life, and
Yeah.
we can never find a time to hang out. And so that's why I was very specific about, I want someone who has time freedom so I can actually like create a relationship. And that's kind of where that came from. But I think in general, when people are like, how do I meet other people? Plant yourself in places that you would want to meet someone. So if
Yeah.
you are on a conscious journey, maybe go to like a yoga retreat or a meditation night or breath work, or I mean, anything like that, because those are going to be your people.
Yeah.
Like going to, taking your kids to McDonald's, maybe that's not your people. Maybe those aren't going to be the people that you are connecting with. So plant yourself in places where you know for a fact that these are the people that are working on themselves, that want to have these kind of connections, are going to be.
Yeah. I love that. And to add to that, it's ask for help. You
Yeah.
you probably know one person, even if it's a barista in a coffee shop, and just be honest, be like, I'm wanting more friendships.
Yeah.
It's not my skill set to just
Yeah.
connect with random people. Can you connect me with someone? Can we
Yeah.
go to lunch with one of your friends? I'm trying to expand.
Yeah. And this is oh, sorry, keep
Oh
going.
no, that's about it.
This is random. This just popped up. I have been seeing a lot of walking groups, like women's walking groups pop up in St.
Good, no
George.
more running. We're not running anymore. It's hot girl walking only.
Yes, please. And I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it's not my crowd, the people, but like if you create a walking group, like that's a really cool way to like fill people out and see like if you could have some potential like deep relationships in there.
Oh, exactly.
So yeah, I mean there's like a Southern Utah chat or like Instagram page, and they've been advertising all these girls walking groups.
Oh,
They're like, this walking
cool.
group's located here, this walking group's located here, like go join in if you want, everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
And so I think it's moms with like younger kids that are like stroller
Oh,
walking.
cute.
So I mean that's just like such a
That'll be me one
fun.
day, you know?
Yeah. I'll go stroller walking with
I'll
you.
just kidnap your kids for the
I'll walk.
weekend.
Oh yeah, you can have them.
Perfect.
Or when you walk your baby, I'll walk my dog.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Anything else you have to say on this subject?
Oh gosh. No, I feel like there's so much we could talk about, and
Yeah.
it's what are tangible steps to
I mean, I think we just listed a few of them. I think just putting yourself in places, connecting with other people, like everyone at least knows one person that they can connect with, and like, hey, let's plan a girls' night. Do you have friends you can bring? And I think just being proactive. If you're desiring something, you can also do what I did and literally manifest. I believe there's so much power in manifesting. If that feels weird to you, then don't do it. But I personally believe we are the creators of our reality.
Mhm.
So it did take me a while to call in you and to call in like this connection. We're connected. We're touching. But I think it's possible, and things will things will always fall in place when they're supposed to. So if something's not happening overnight for you, just know this is something I've been desiring and dreaming about for a while. Like just finding like-minded connections that feel authentic to me. It took a while.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to message random people on Instagram.
Yeah.
They live close to you.
Yeah, if you feel someone could be a connection. I actually just messaged someone that I have had a connection with on Instagram forever. I don't even know if we have connected in real life, but she has a daughter's Char's age, so I just messaged her to see if they want to come on our like Sunday family hikes.
Oh, very cool.
Look at me.
Girl, you're so social.
I know, I'm so social.
So social.
But just trying to create connections for my kids. For me, obviously, too, but like also for little Char. But
yeah,
don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. I love that.
The worst that could happen is just like, oh, I'm busy that day. You know?
Yeah.
It's like the worst that could happen.
I'm always just throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah, I love that.
I feel like an Italian grandma, see what sticks.
But the more you do that, the better chances you have of something happening.
Yeah. I was thinking about this lately. I feel like I was forced to be quite social early on.
Yeah.
And so I've mastered social networking in that like professional, traditional aspect, to the point where, I have like 30,000 hours networking, and they say you're an expert at like 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I go in and I'm like, I kind of hope 90% of the people don't like me, because I'm just going to say some random shit. In the case I want to like embody this like traditional role, like I I could interact with every single person.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, I rather not be popular, and I would rather connect with a soul person. And so just say something off the wall. Be a little bit weird. Just be freaking weird.
Everyone
Like,
has a little weirdness in them.
yeah, stop being like, what do you do? I actually don't care what you do.
Or what about this weather?
Yeah, what about this weather?
It's hot outside.
Most people hate their jobs anyways. Almost everyone hates their job. I
Yeah.
want to be like, what's your passion?
Yeah.
What are your traumas?
What are your traumas?
That
and if they look at you like you're nuts, then just move on to the next person.
Yeah, just
like, what did you just ask me?
What? But ask different questions too.
Yeah, ask different questions and you'll get different answers.
Yeah. And show your vulnerability. When sometimes you have to be the first one to do that, and it almost releases the person's body in front of you. You can feel their body just like, oh, wow, you're honest. I can be honest. And some people don't like honesty. Here's what I've learned too is every single year I work with one billionaire. I don't know how. It's always freaking random. And what I notice is the people who are millionaires are always trying to prove each other. And so they're very traditional in the way they do things.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always like, I've got the car, I've got this and this and this. Most of these billionaires I've ever worked with, they crave authenticity more than anything. So people always say, how do you have the network you have? And I'm like, because I say the most random fucking shit you've ever met in your life. And these people who have been asked, hey, can I have $1 million? Hey, can you be my friend? Hey, can I exploit you? Hey, can I do this and this? They feel inauthenticity from everyone.
Yeah.
And when you show you're real and you don't care about the Joneses, it actually opens up your life to I don't even know what the word magical portals and connections.
Yeah. I love that.
So yeah, don't be a Jones.
Yeah, don't do that. Unless that's authentic to you. But I'm going to say for the most part, it's not authentic to most people.
No.
Like just go deep.
Yeah, what's your past life? What alien planet are you from? Go take a test online, even if you don't believe it. Like, just go check.
Just go Google what alien species am I a part of.
Yeah, it's probably like a CIA data collection scam.
but
that's
fine.
All right. That's all right. Whatever.
It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like this is complete?
Yeah, I guess this is go.
Yeah. Well, leave us comments, give us feedback. If there's anything you want us to talk about in the future, we'd love to hear from you. Follow along. We are The Real Cosmic Joke on every platform that we're on.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah, that's and remember, we have emotions and feelings. And so when you have criticism, just be really kind. Also, if you want to be a troll, you could totally do that too.
Or give it to us, whatever. It's fine. Because we're probably just going to turn around and use it as podcast.
Yeah, we're probably going
to.
We'll showcase your name, your Instagram handle, your comment, and then we'll respond. And
listen, we're still human and we are not above being petty sometimes.
Yeah, 90%. No, I'm just kidding. It's like 60-50. Who knows? That's not even a ratio, but whatever. Are we? Yeah, I think we're complete.
All right. Awaken, laugh, repeat. See you next time.